our collective, which is based in Austria and in Germany. And Sarah Clark is a guest who is based in Chile. She collaborated with us. She was the one reading that text. And our idea was to quickly go through the slideshows of our work we did in 2022 with this videos part of, and then time for conversation and eventually a small exercise together in the end, if you're willing to. So I will share my screen and start the presentation. The title we gave to the lecture is what have been moving us, and I think Hyo Jin will talk about it. I will just make an introduction how we came here. And the collective is now with 4 people. We had Hyo Jin and I, and Otto Oscar Hernández and Peninah Lesorogol are not here with us today, but Peninah was with me in a conference 3 years ago where we presented our research into ancestral futurism. We are based in Europe, and we are all migrants living here and dealing with growing pressure of right-wing governments as well. So this is an undergoing... I can't move. Yeah, no. So the one question that we have been following us is how can we co-create transcultural rituals to ground us in our times, in these locations we are inhabiting, bringing our past and entangle them together, in presenting to the cultural publics of the cities. And this is Peninah. She's Samburu, and she's living in Graz, and she has her kids living here. That's Otto. He's living in Cuba. Oh, he was born in Cuba. He's living in Germany. That's me, who was born in Rio. Oh, and I missed Hyo Jin. And we would like really to share our work and our doubts with you, because when we engage in this idea of working with spiritual aesthetics in the performative, it's very problematic for the audience and for ourselves, but it's also a way to hold the tensions and how our creative expressions, how we co-created this space together, and how they are manifested into collective co-creation of collective offerings is our goal. So for this presentation, we brought 2 rivers we worked with, the River Mur, which is here in the city of Graz, and the River Pader, which is in Germany. And for the River Mur, we started with a residency 2022 in Neubergs and the Murts, which is a tributary. The Murts will come to the Mur later and come here to the city. We were in a experimental learning space called Neuberg College, where we did a residency. It's an old abandoned train station that we can really be immersed in nature. The spaces in Europe are over-regulated. Often it's hard to be really outside in the nature with the entities and the rivers. So this particular space, we ran 10 years, and now due to lack of funding and political pressure, this space is closed. But during 10 years it existed and was a space for experimental learning. And many artists and people from literature and theater would be there to find inspiration and create their pieces. And that's what we did. We lived 1 week here together to prepare this work. And for us, it's also important this multi-generational aspect. We bring our families, we entangle art and life together. So when we are living there, it's we have the kids, like Ecoversity's gatherings also are. There's space for kids and for cooking and for living together. So just a small glimpse. And it's very playful, so we can use time to develop things. And this is Tillman, who is our cameraman. He's the video maker of presenting the works here. And the kids initiated the activities, and we've kind of started a new way of collaborating with each other when the kids lead the exercises. As you saw in the video, we're also doing walking exercises, walking backwards, working with the bare feet, and walking to the mountain and being really into the nature for a long time and see how things evolve. So these images were in these videos. And the last activity you want to share, we did many things, but one very important thing in this was initiated by Mariana with my daughter, which was to make these offerings to bring to the river. So We collected flowers and plants to bring. And I will hand over to Hyo Jin, who is the one who give the rhythms and play the ching when we are with the water. Hyo Jin, you want to go?
Yes. Thank you, and welcome everybody from me too. It's really, I'm not so fluent in English, so I have prepared something written down that I can also read a bit. So I hope my English is also very Jinglish, German English. While Dani is showing further pictures of our weave and entanglement in Neuberg, I would like to explain why we choose this in the title, that word untamable past for us. And maybe then you would recognize things that you see on the pictures, you know. So while we meet in this collective, the Daily Rhythms Collective, we are weaving our backgrounds and biographies, which we are constantly trying to reflect in our individual artwork or daily practices and traditions. Because we are all living in an environment, we have to reroot ourselves because we migrated in one point of our biographies. So we are all migrants. We are retelling our past, and we are recognizing that we learned to see in our childhood, in our youth, in our studies, especially also in our studies, to view it in a very Eurocentristic colonial perspective, and we try to avoid this when we speak with our children. In our classes, while we teach, and in the communities we are engaged with, we try to establish another perspective and come out of that what we learned. Daily Rhythms Collective is actually for us the translation of our own biographies, of our heritages. In new compositions, we try to weave together our performances and presentations. We understand ourselves as branches of a tree that is rooted deeply in our past, that is connected. Also, all our past is connected through our parents, the story of our grandparents, and all the people who came before, which we call ancestors. Our bodies and our conscious moved at some point in our life. We needed to move. Sometimes it was not our own decision, because for me, example, I moved as a child. We moved also our cultural understanding, because we have to reroot ourselves into another society. All of us in this Daily Rhythms Collective are bridging a generation from an economically or politically exploited country like South Korea, me and Seoul. Our parents, they lived totally a different social and political environment. And for example, Otto, who has to bridge also the history in Cuba and what he is living in Weimar in Germany. Or Dani, who is bridging her children who are German, Brazilian, Austrian, whatever also, and her mother in Brazil. So just to give some example, and of course Peninah, who has to bridge her life and her children, half German, and one is a full Samburu and moved later than his brothers and her tribe in Kenya. So very, very diverse. And Sadok actually is doing vice versa, because she is born in Germany, Berlin, but then her parents came before from South Korea, and then she migrated again to Chile and is now bridging also these three countries now. Yeah. So we are reflecting these gaps. We are socially and culturally aware that transcultural, what is the term nowadays, transcultural also means bridging living standards. We have different spiritual practices while doing this, but we are connected in the conviction that in the past of our diverse cultures are a lot of answers forgotten or overwritten by colonial power structures for overcoming class gaps, capitalistic exploitation, and socio-political crisis. So our rituals that we are co-creating are based on our commonalities as much as our specificities. Important for us is everybody believes what they believe. We don't judge or cut out the belief system of another body. Important is we accept another belief system as an impulse to move out of our own comfort zones, our own safe spaces, our behaviors, to find shared ideas. So maybe Dani would like also to describe what happened more in Neuberg, as you are showing the poster, for example, now from L'Amour. What does this poster mean?
Yeah, so this was the exhibition we presented with the work we collected, but Serok will explain, right?
Hello, everyone. Yes, so we started the collaboration between Chile and Austria in 2022. There was one hiccup in the beginning where I was supposed to be, and then I was over distance. That is the very first part you saw with the text and the videos in the very beginning about the shedding, which was my contribution from the distance abroad. Speaking and writing at 3 a.m. in the morning in Chile while it was morning there, and it was quite adventurous. And then eventually I was able to come to Austria, bringing my 2 kids here in the photo, and the performance walk was mainly to, it's very much entangled with how can we make how can we actually really embody the waters and have an experience in very simple things. So walking is one of the main methodologies also for many indigenous cultures, and it's about how the walk can actually be a walk as a co-creation with the river. So we were walking along the Mur in the city of Graz, and in the very beginning I was walking it a few times, and I designed sort of, there's always obviously and within the arts a little bit of intervention and design, and there were different stations in I was finding out, I was listening to, and in those different stations there were different events I was applying. So there was one event which was really about deep listening, to connect to the rivers, to connect to the sounds, to the voices of the rivers, and then this is the bit where I was making an offering through an old ancient folk song, Korean folk song, and then there's always this gap when you listen to something, or when you listen to voices, and then you listen to human voices, and then you leave the silence, and in the silence you can actually listen to the water voices. So it's a bit this I would say sense to make the perception more sensitive. It's about opening more and more perceptions that are within us. We have, as our human bodies have that, let's say, technology. And so the walk is mainly about opening up perceptions and opening to live the experience, rather than just looking at the river and say, oh, how beautiful the river is, but to actually connect as another body, and we are water body, and then there's the river that is also obviously a much huger, more bigger water body with a lot of memories and a lot of voices. And so it's trying to bring closer the people in this walk to this experience. The yellow cloth is a little bit our sort of red thread within the collective. It has been used in the very beginning, also Neuberg, and then we used it again to sort of weave through the stems of the trees. And it was an invitation for people to also be playful and throw themselves into the like the web of the cloth, and you know, being within the body and having fun, playing with the trees and playing with the cloth. And in the end, Tilman got really enthusiastic, and then he threw in some lights down there. You can see it was, some parts were not really planned, and then I was there as I'm hanging like as a monkey. So it's a little bit. It was this invitation of really relating to environment and being embodied with that relationship. What comes next? That's the very end. So after the there were, you know, the long walk, and the very end there's a final station where we threw the cloth, so the thread goes then into the water body to connect our bodies, to connect the experience, and then physically bring in the cloth and connect it to the water body, to the river. And obviously we didn't leave it there, we took it out afterwards. And that was part of the later what was exposed in the institute, in the Afro-Asian Institute in Graz, as a polyphonic composition. So part of it, of that video, of the singing, the Neuberg experience, which was the artistic residence, and some other artistic residencies were all put together and then exposed in that composition, which was an audio visual spatial installation composition with, I don't know how many screens, different kind of screens, and different speakers as well.
2 screens and 4 speakers we had.
Yeah. Do you wanna hop in, Hyo Jin, and talk a little bit about what we've been talking before, the untamable transformative force, and the
Yeah,
title?
maybe I can share the last one.
Yeah, let's do that.
Before. Because I think, exactly, we have been doing this work with ourselves, how to shed all these layers and how to engage and deep dive into these other forms of relationship with ourselves and with the modern human beings, and how can we really dive and let it be. So this has been, I think, accompanying us for the past years, and we wanted to share this one event 2025 last year in the Pada River. There's also a video, but it's a bit hard to show the video. I think it's easier to show the image. We can share the videos later because it's a lot of sounds and music accompanying our work, and it's always hard to the documentation. But in this case, we had a swamp. The Pada River is a swamp in Germany, and you see Hyo Jin with the ching again, and the microphone also collecting the sound of the water. And the invitation was for a mud bath, and really, I think many people in the alliances are doing this in different ways, but our way is really to how to communicate to a wider audience. In this case, this project was really very advertised in the city. People really came from different backgrounds that would never really, nobody uses this river at all. It's very cold. Technically, it's 15 degrees only, or some places even less, 10. And so the invitation to take a mud bath even in summer is impossible or not thinkable for the current population there. And that was our invitation. And in fact, we realized when you are in the mud, it really gets warm. So we could stay there for half an hour. And it has also, for me, with the Yoruba ancestry, also this connection with Nana, the mud being the connection of earth and water, the mix of both, and how can we really do this moulting we were talking in the beginning, in this shedding in a very physical way of connection. And it was the invitation for the audience also to join, and apparently people did make this movement of get into that. Everybody found it disgusting. It smells. Even the river is absolutely clean. In Germany, this is also a paradise here compared to other parts of the world. This water is super clean, but still people find it disgusting. But we managed to make a collective bath, and people came to do also collective painting. Yeah, I think these are the images I have now, but I think that we can go to a kind of conversation. We thought it would be better. The images are just an inspiration for sharing our practice. But as Hyo Jin was also saying, it's just one point of the visualization to the public. The work we are doing is much deeper and ongoing, out of the public visibility, right?
Yes, and we wanted to share a little bit about our thoughts, like what we are taking out of our work now, continuous work together, and why we said that we are wrestling the untamable past into our future. It's not something that is coming fluidly, like water just streaming along. No, for us, really, this feels more like wrestling and moulting, like it's not without pain and not without conflicts also that we have to share with each other. So we are welcoming and enduring that friction is necessary for moulting. We have to get out of our skins, even if it's really not easy to do. And we have to grow and change. And it's only possible when our old skin is ripped off. And so as I tried to explain our biographies, we are very complex. We are living in a very complex environment, and it isn't explainable for us all in a binary or dual system. We had to leave this behind because it was not matching our identities. Many indigenous wisdom we found out and knowledge of nature and habitation, they already had this. They had this prism of understandings. They haven't been binded to a kind of dualist thinking. So when we did the residency, it wasn't not only like harmony and family vibes. It can also have a lot of clashes and discrepancy that we had to talk through. Who is deciding what? Why are we deciding this? What is not really comfortable when you do this with my things, We had to share also our aversions, and a lot of misunderstandings also happen through words. Words are sometimes not really helpful. But when we moved all together, especially with our children, these little exercises of walking, singing, playing, reciting, creating, and honoring the environment, then somehow the gaps expressed in words, they just melted. They vanished somehow in that process. It became somehow vain to even think about them, So we try to be really like very instinctive when we are creating our performances together now. We try really to be engaged with that, what we find as space. And often these are landscapes. Often we are in nature when we do. So when we can create the space of embodied and sensorial encounters, all those gaps and frictions within us, even they are present still, they become an ally to divert, to reshape us. Just as a river finds its new ways while flowing and moving in its way, it has to find through all the little things. It has to fight sometimes against stones, against earth, to find this way. So we asked ourselves, how can we understand the waters in the landscapes and the waters in ourselves? How can we connect back to the sacred and intimate understanding and feeling of the waters. And we are finding the bonds through especially deep listening methods. Observing is a big part of it, to let us absorb and share our observings and our imaginations of what we just instantly have as pictures. And then we try to sing to the river, to dance to it, to give them offerings, to put water in and back, so that we are really bonding to it back. So, of course, all this I can only describe it summarized in this short minutes. And I think what we should do together now, because I'm pretty sure that everybody here in this space, in this room, has similar experience and similar working as we are doing. So what we really would like to do is to exchange our questions with yours. And also, I think one of the hardest questions that we had to solve. Is it allowed now that I open it? Dani, what do you think? That we open it now up?
Yeah, sure. We wanted to open up, and we thought maybe in breakdown rooms, if you're willing, so we can come into conversation. Yeah, share the question you brought.
Yeah. So the first questions, we have two, and then we are really like asking you to give more questions, please. So the first question is, do you have any similar experiences in bringing artistically different transcultural believing systems together? And the second question would be, how do you find ways for exchange without introducing categories of values like meaningful or not meaningful, interesting, funny, beautiful? Is there a way to avoid this in this work that you do? So Dani's idea was to, maybe it would be nice if we could group, we do it 10 minutes in different groups. If we didn't try this, Albert, I'm sorry, we forgot that we wanted to do. Is this technically possible that we would do the groupings, that we can just talk at 10 minutes within smaller groups and then we come back and bring together the results of the talks?
I just have a request.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put the questions on the chat?
Mm-hmm.
How many persons do you want in? How many groups do you want?
We thought 3 groups, so each of us in one group.
Okay. Got it. I
Um,
will be preparing them. For how much time? 10 minutes?
10 minutes,
Mhm.
because then in the end we can share, and there will be a voicing exercise we wanted to close with.
Just give me 1 minute before I prepare the rooms.
Mhm.
And I think one question is like also how to relate with our our past, which is unknown. Like in our case, we really have to reinvent the stories of our past that haven't been told us. Like living in colonized countries, the stories we have to find and rewrite ourselves sometimes. And it's in this entangling when we come together through these cultural differences that we start to find similarities and recreate the stories, because our main goal was also how can we be, what kind of ancestors do we want to be, and how can we learn from our ancestors that we haven't not learned how to listen. We are like uprooted, and how can we reroot in these new soils that we are inhabiting? And then this would be like some of the questions that we have been sharing for the past years. And maybe if you are wanting to discuss this with us from your cultural backgrounds and your experiences of rootedness and rootlessness, perhaps.
Yeah, those are questions to as a starting point. No, within the groups, you can. I think also it's initiating even more questions. Those are always good questions. Are always that. No, it brings up more questions, and to see as we work a lot about rootedness, uprootedness, themes of belonging. What does it mean to belong to land, or if you're uprooted or derooted, where's your belonging? Yeah, so it's an invitation if you could, or if you'd like to share that within the groups, that would be, and then we can come together afterwards and share our experiences and exchanges. So
Okay.
we, as a last, more than an exercise, it's an invitation to maybe get a little bit of just a tiny taste of a glimpse of what our work can be and is about. And so it's, it's always about embodying. So I invite you, if you want, you can stay sitting, or you can also stand if you like. And I prefer always to be more on my feet. And feel more rooted through the feet into the ground. If you want, you can take off your socks and your shoes, or just keep wherever you want to be. And I think, Hyo Jin, maybe you can start with we've been talking about, we haven't really rehearsed it in that sense, but maybe Hyo Jin, you can start just first with a jing sound. So it's a little bit about first to bring in the water bodies, and just to bring in a certain flow within your own body first through the jing, which is Hyo Jin's instrument, and then afterwards the closing would be to do an answer, a call and an answer, a very simple part of a Korean song I used also for the performance, where you connect to, it's a song to a river, it's an offering to the river, but it's also to connect to your own water bodies. And I would like to first just start where you can, with a, Hyo Jin went off screen now. There we go. With a jing, and if you want, you can close your eyes and start with some soft flowing movements within your body and your breath, listening to if the jing can transpose and enter into the flow of your body just as it comes. There's no specific way, but entering into different ways of flowing, and bringing in the breath also into that flow. And I always imagine that the breath is like a wind, right? It's kind of entering. There's that flow, there's this water within your own rivers, within your own body, all those different rivers flowing, and then the breath that comes on top is like a wind, like on the surface of a river, or the rivers. And my first call, and you can respond either in the same, or respond also in your own ways. And the first call is a very soft I invite you to open the microphones so we can share the responses and the calls. I'll do it once again. 둥게 뛰어라 내 사랑아 Good. Last one. 오하 오하 나한마 둥게 뛰어라 내 사랑아 Read the last one twice. 내 사랑아 Last one. 내 사랑아 Good, thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice.
Right, there's this technical tick, tick, but I can feel the vibes coming. So thank you so much.
I share our website is under construction, but if you look at this link I put, there's this video when Serok is singing to the river, this song, and it's pretty beautiful.
Thank you.
I thank you all. I think I've heard a lot of voices also. Some laughter, some shyness in the beginning, maybe some insecurity too, but then it became more and more secure. I can do whatever I feel I can do. I just do. This is the spirit that we wanted to share. Just do, go out, do your wonderful work, everybody of you. I'm so glad we met today, and I'm so glad, Albert, that you somehow did this right with us. Thank you for all your diversity. Thank you for all what you are like envisioning for the future of all of us. Thank you so much, Danny. Thank you, Seru.
Thank you so much.
And
everyone.
thank you so much, all the people that are contributing to this. And it gives me a lot of hope, and it gives me a lot of energy, inspiration, and motivation. And I hope, we will meet each other someday, somewhere, somehow, offline, without technique,
Flesh and
in
bones.
person, fluid, embody.
Hyo Jin, Erin, and Yayo want to make a question. Is it okay?
It's very quick. The thing that drew me to this session actually is the name of your collective, the Daily Rhythms. And like, I just was curious why, I mean, there's just something in the daily, the repetition. Why did you choose that name? And what does the daily have to do with your practice?
We inherited that name. The collective was founded 2013 here in Graz by our dear colleagues Neri Castillo, Maria Mohammad, and other wonderful migrant women. They had other topics. They were more into like how we migrant women can function in the fabrics of the city in daily life. What are the small gestures of resistance we are doing here. And this collective was also co-founded, Margaret from Rotor Galleries here, of the Woman Action Forum in the city. Margaret is there. She's our wonderful curator. And then in 2020, there was the pandemic, and we were doing a project on ecology. And then Otto came, and then Otto brought Hyo Jin, who is a musician. Otto is a performer. And then the meaning of the daily rhythms changed because they really brought rhythms. And then Sarah came with her voice, you know, and then became, and I'm following you guys in the 10 network and bio, you know, and this kind of became post-activists, we composed that other way of doing politics, and the rhythms became our inner, this, what is moving our inside, I think. Yeah.